Record. So now we'll talk about very simple human quality like jealousy. Should we be jealous or not jealous? So if you start looking for even jealousy, sometimes you feel bad. Feeling bad is again a negative reaction. Why do we feel bad? Due to various external stimuli. It's something we need to see. So if you consider any thought which has been coming to you or any event in the past few days or past 1 month, whatever you can recollect, just pick up anything and see whether this bad feeling is due to jealousy. Was there an element of jealousy in that? Because if we see somebody doing well or something we wanted and we could not get it and somebody got it, so we are in a so before jealousy, there is a element of comparison. We have a tendency to compare. So comparison is another human quality. Should we compare, not compare? And after comparison, only jealousy comes. So jealousy is each negative quality triggers many other negative qualities which trigger thoughts. So if we have a tendency to compare and not accept what we have, not happy with, if we are not content with what we have, but we are constantly chasing something, wanting something, comparing something, we are competing. Comparing means we are actually in a competition. We are not happy with what we have. We are in a constant competition. And that is the reason maybe we are competing for fame also. Anything like it can be physical, it can be virtual. So even if we are wanting more fame, more acknowledgement, or even on an equal footing that I am also something. No, I am also something. No, I am also this. So there is a subtle comparison which is constantly happening in our life. Even we are in a discussion. If we are having a small discussion, there also a comparison will happen. That I know better. I know better. No, I know better. So even if somebody is telling instead of grasping that, our mind shifts to proving that I am doing better. I am doing better. So this मारुति जी नमस्कार.
नमस्ते।
मारुति, हम लोग वो जेल एक ह्यूमन क्वालिटी को लेके अब डिस्कशन शुरू कर रहे हैं कि हाउ टू डू इंट्रोस्पेक्शन ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर ह्यूमन क्वालिटी टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दैट थॉट्स आर ट्रिगर्ड. So I'm just repeating that. So comparison is before jealousy. There is actually a comparison happening. आप जा रहे हैं? अच्छा. So before jealousy, there is a comparison happening, and comparison leads to jealousy. So we'll actually discuss comparison. Now, this if you really look into any event and thought or action which is there in our life, which is impacting our mind.
Jealousy can also be superiority.
हाँ, वही कंपैरिजन हो गया. कंपैरिजन कंपैरिजन ही है कि हम कोई अपने को सुपीरियर समझ रहा है, कोई अपने को इंफीरियर समझ रहा है.
He will reach that level. So it is the easy jealousy. You should not competitive.
Comparing.
Right. And another person is like, I cannot go to that particular stage. So he become a jealous to the top person.
So that is expectation. Expectation is there, and there is a so there are multiple factors when we see why so if I really come to that, when I start explaining, when we go into the detail, as Mr. Vinayak is telling, there is an expectation. So that is the element of expectation. That is another human negative quality, that why should we have expectation? So when we have expectation, then there will be a comparison. Why we have expectation? Because we have desires. Why do we have desires? We have not understood our needs. So it's like a chain. So all this is like a jigsaw puzzle. Every human quality is connected to every other human quality. And when we spoke about love, love is a combination of all positive human quality. If we have controlled our desires, what is controlling of desire? How do we control our desire? If we understand what is my need and what is my desire, if we have understood it very well, I will not be chasing something which is not needed. And I will also then acceptance. Even if suppose my some need is not fulfilled, suppose I am unable to eat, I can eat food, but what I should eat and what I am not able to eat, that can also lead to a problem. because that my need is also not fulfilled. But then am I willing to accept what is coming in my life, or I am not willing to accept? So acceptance is another human quality. I resign to my understand my destiny? Do I understand law of karma? Do I understand my destiny? Do I believe in destiny? And why I believe in destiny? Because the life teaches us that what is destined will only happen. That comes from our experiences. If I want this, if I want that, but if I am not destined to do that, like they say कि जो जब होना है तभी होगा और नहीं होना तो कभी नहीं होगा. तो अगर ये जिसने समझ लिया तो देन वो एक्सेप्टेंस मोड में आ जाएगा. और फिर उसको बोलते हैं सरेंडर. उसके आगे बोलते हैं सरेंडर मोड, आत्मसमर्पण. समर्पण किसको करना है? भगवान को समर्पित हो. भगवान को समर्पित होगा तो जो दे रहा है उसी से आप खुश हो. तो वो एक अलग स्टेज आती है कि जो है उसमें आदमी उसमें भी खुश है और खुश भी नहीं है, ज्यादा ही खुश है. तो ये बहुत एक चेन ऑफ इवेंट है जिसको जब हम इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करते हैं, इसको यही सेल्फ इंक्वायरी है. So what I am explaining here, what we are discussing here is a process of self-inquiry, which is cross-connected. All these human qualities are cross-connected, and if you do this self-inquiry, you will really understand how to accept that we should not be comparing. Why should we be comparing? What is the trigger of comparison? So so many qualities are coming in line, and then it is very simple to realize. So when we start doing self-inquiry for every thought and action which is bothering us, then we are able to reverse it. Because what happens, we are now creating a pattern by self-inquiry, regular self-inquiry, which is giving a feedback now. So we are adding a feedback to our brain. So every time that event happens which is leading to my reaction of where I'm comparing and then generating jealousy and then generating expectation and then generating anger, frustration, depression, anxiety. So that will now next time when it will happen, the brain will take the feedback and it will allow you to take a decision whether to ignore it or still react. So with repeatedly, you will be able to stop it, where some willpower is also needed. Because more deeper the introspection happens, more introspection which happens on a regular basis, it is now allowing you to block that reaction. And after some time, you will be able to block that reaction and change the way or the whole pattern will change. The earlier pattern will change to a new pattern where you will stop reacting and your understanding of human quality will change. And that is basically like reprogramming your brain. So then that will become a new pattern and it will still come because if there is an intensity of some event can change. It can still trigger a reaction, but with a harder, deeper, and a longer regular introspection, we will be able to overcome that intensity also. So that is why sadhana is not that once I have overcome something, but overcoming these hurdles is also a process which takes time and regular introspection to really overcome higher intensity of that event. Because some we may not react to similar thing from somebody, but we may react to similar thing from probably my wife or husband or child, because the intensity is different with every individual or every anything external. With each the trigger reason for the trigger is intensity is different for each person through because we have different kind of relationship with each person. So there is a different set of expectation from each person. But to really understand that now that's another area to discuss, that who belongs to us, are we alone or do we own anyone in this world? That's another area to introspect. So this introspection actually goes into many qualities. What is solitude? What is attachment? So should we be attached? Should we not be attached?
Last time we discussed attachment.
We discuss attachment also. So, but problem is we can't discuss attachment. When we discuss attachment, like we started discussing comparison and jealousy, but then we can't discuss them in isolation. Moment you start discussing any human quality, you will see all the qualities are connected. And the trigger, there is a root trigger and there is a multiple subsequent triggers. And ultimately it really leads to anger and bad feeling, and then it goes to anxiety. Anxiety is not a human quality. Anxiety, anger is a result of many negative triggers. And then depression. Then people also have panic attacks. And there is a mental instability, lack of confidence, lack of trust. So we are one negative quality is actually impacting many other human qualities also in a negative way. So what happens? The overall one negative action leads to many negative actions, and we just don't realize that how much it is impacting my mind, and then how the mind, which is triggering this negative emotion, is that energy. How is that energy acting on my body? And if we see today, the kind of negativity which is now there in everywhere, and it is very evident in the way people are behaving today, the way society is behaving. So the overall impact from one negative quality actually goes into multiple negative qualities, and ultimately it goes to affect the society, community, society, because the tendencies of the way we are reacting is pretty common, because that has become the norm, and people have lost direction. The way society is coming up, the way society is, kind of programmed or influenced through the changes and through a lot of independence. The reference is missing now. The problem is the reference to, and all these human qualities are actually called dharam. Dharam is nothing. Dharam or religion is nothing. Religion is basically, any religion is actually talking about human qualities only. Even Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, all are, everything is everybody is talking about human quality. Like on Monday, this class is there by Vibha Saxena. She is reading that book, Power of Thought or something, and that book is also aligned to Upanishad. Upanishad is talking about only Karam Kand and Dharam Kand, and ज्ञान खंड और ज्ञान कांड और कर्म कांड. अब ज्ञान में क्या है? ज्ञान is actually understanding धर्म. Dharma is what? Human qualities. If you read Bhagavad Gita, is all talking about human qualities only, but it is stitched around stories, and we digress to the story and forget the essence of the Gita. We forget the essence of even Bible. Bible is very difficult. If you read Bible is Shakespeare's English, people can't even comprehend that English. Same problem is with a lot of our scriptures. We are not good in Sanskrit. Our pure language is also impurified. Understanding those scriptures has become very difficult. So who can explain the essence in a simple language, and who can really attempt to understand all these scriptures in simple language, removing all the stories, coming to the essence, picking up the core words? This is what is actually needed. But unfortunately, there is a lot of distraction within the scriptures. And that actually makes us digress from the essence of the learning. Most of the scriptures, like Yoga Vasishtha also says very clearly, do only thing is self-inquiry. And we, except doing self-inquiry, we are doing everything else. We are reading tons of books, but we are not doing self-inquiry, because life is the biggest book. So coming back to introspection about a human quality, to understand why that human quality is triggering a negative thought in us, and how each negative quality triggers multiple negative qualities, and then also to see that so many negative human qualities are triggered negatively, and together they are influencing my brain, how it is perceiving, how it is processing any signal from the external, through the sensory organs or through the memory, how it is, how we are conditioned, how we are programmed, how we are processing everything based on our qualities, or negative qualities, that is leading to the thoughts. So if we understand the sequence of thought generation, we can actually do the reverse engineering, and that is what it is. So I think I have explained one, and anybody can talk now. I think now we should be more interactive, and anybody wants to share any experience, any situation, how to do introspection, we can do that.
If we concentrate on one negative point,
Yeah.
we can on that we can reduce other also by.
Yeah. So Avinash is telling, if we pick up one negative human quality, we can connect with other human qualities also, and it is connected, because like abhi I will give you one example. Like most of the jealousy happens within our close knit community only. Most of the relatives get jealous. You want to see example of jealousy, whether you are getting jealous or you see your relatives getting jealous.
I think it's rooted in the ego.
वो तो बाद में आएंगे, वो ईगो बाद में आएगा. ईगो ईगो तो ईगो को ईगो वी आर नॉट डिस्कसिंग नाउ because ego is a very deep subject. First we should try to understand the cross connection between these qualities. So we are right now discussing comparison. We have a tendency to compare. पड़ोसी पड़ोसी में कंपैरिजन करता है, उसके यहाँ ये फ्रिज है, उसके यहाँ ये कार है, उसका बच्चा यहाँ जा रहा है, इसका बच्चा वहां जा रहा है. अब इफ आई गिव यू माय ओन एग्जांपल, आई विल गिव यू माय ओन एग्जांपल. आई हैव अ नेबर.
कंपैरिजन करते हैं ना, मुझे क्यों नहीं सवाल आ रहा है ना, मेरा बच्चा तो लेके
मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ, तो मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ. आई एम गिविंग वन एग्जांपल ऑफ माय ओन एग्जांपल. Like I have a neighbor. So when I bought a car, he asked me, "How did I buy this car?" Why should somebody ask someone that how I bought the car? Because it is my income. I'm earning, and you are also earning. How much I am earning? Why should it bother you? And if I bought a car which may be 2 lakh rupees expensive, then when he bought a car, I never asked him. It didn't bother me at all. So why did it bother him? Because he's not focused on what he has. Another person is focused on what he has. And I'm not. My neighbor has a BMW. I'm not comparing. I'm not interested in BMW. It is his destiny. It is his work. It is his destiny only. Actually, it is all karma. So we have to understand law of karma. Whatever I'm getting, and we also have a tendency to look at something, somebody which we want and others have, but we don't see so many things which we have, others don't have. We are always comparing. We are always looking for something. We are not happy with what we have. We are still unhappy because what we don't have and somebody else have. So the idea is that we are not accepting. We don't understand destiny. We also don't understand what is my potential. If I have a neighbor who's highly qualified and he's more capable, and he's in a better job because he worked hard. And people today have expectations and ambitions, whether they work for it or not work for it. But everybody wants to live like Akshay Kumar, or everybody wants to be Aishwarya Rai. They want to be a heroine and hero. They want to travel like that. So people have so many ambitions, whether they are capable. So how many of us actually really introspect that what is my potential? What is my capability? How much I worked? Should I really have those aspirations? We don't do that. So there are so many issues, but we forget all that, and we feel we should be there should be equality in terms of what I have, what I should have, what should I achieve, and that's why we get into comparison.
But I think so. From our childhood itself, we are like that.
Childhood.
One child is having one. उसके पास ये नहीं करते तो अच्छा है, अच्छा अपने से एक चीज रहेगा. Child wants that.
हाँ, सो अविनाश जी बोले कि चाइल्डहुड से ही ये शुरू हो जाता है कि एक बच्चे के पास कुछ है, एक बच्चे के पास कुछ नहीं है. अभी लाइक मैं अपना एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मेरे फादर के पास इतना पैसा नहीं था, बट मेरे कजन्स के पास दे वर वेल ऑफ देन अस. तो किसी के पास वो मॉडल मिनिएचर कार आती है, टॉय कार वो होती थी. माय फादर कुड नॉट बाय इट, सो आई ऑलवेज वाज वेरी वांट आई ऑलवेज वांटेड दोस कार्स. बट उसमें कोई बुरा नहीं लगता था. आई न्यू कि है, एक डिजायर थी, बट इट एक्सेप्टेड इट कि वी कांट बाय इट. बट वो डिजायर मैंने 2017 में फुलफिल करी, जो मेरा वो हॉबी थी. सो दोज पीपल, a lot of people don't value us. Those people who have it also don't value it. Like my cousins who had those cars, toy cars, they never valued it. And today when I bought, I still value it. I have a very good collection, very nicely displayed. So uh, but ठीक है, नहीं है तो नहीं है, उसको एक्सेप्ट करना आना चाहिए. If we can't,
याद आ गया, I put my experience. तो
पास आ जाइए. हाँ जी. हाँ.
parking my car. You know that I was new. My car used to spoil.
आप पास आ जाओ वो ये
My
लोग
car, they were used to spoil the car by
हाँ
putting some
हाँ वो भी होता है
wire,
हाँ
some wire, some metallic piece in my door, the car, putting some dust. Once you know, I was out for days. Third day when I visited, went there, so there was a cement they are putting on this. What is it? I never talk with these people. I was with this, we are moving early morning, going back. So this is also, what is the reason of this? So my mechanic had to remove the door problem. So he told me that there is some your neighbor, he is putting doing all this thing. So this is what jealousy.
So anyway, these are all examples, but the thing is, did it bother you? Did it bother you, or how to react to this? So what we are discussing here is that we have a tendency to compare. Now, should I look at somebody else's comparison or should I look at my own comparison? Am I comparing somewhere? Because somebody else who's comparing can react in such a way that he can also try to harm you. You know, like when we, so if suppose I am comparing and I am getting jealous, what will happen? So let's focus on ourselves. We should not even think about, but we can always learn by seeing how people are reacting. But it's very important that to learn to see that in our own self. Are we really reacting like that or not? Because ultimately it is us. Because all the all the reactions which we are having are actually leading to all the problems. So rather than looking at somebody else or looking into a situation where we are trying to analyze somebody else, the whole idea in self-inquiry is to analyze our own self. We gave these examples, but the most important thing is that we have to look for, is this comparison working in us, on us? Am I getting troubled by some thought? Is it due to that I was doing some comparison? Am I having some inferiority complex? Am I having some superiority complex? And actually, if you see, superiority complex is a kind of an inferiority complex only. Superiority complex is actually an inferiority complex. Most of the people who have a superiority complex, they are actually having an inferiority complex. Because why should you have any comparison? Why should you feel superior? Because you feel you are not superior, so you want to show that you are superior. The superior complex is very interesting. Superiority complex is actually an inferiority complex. The person whom you feel has a superiority complex, or if you have a superior complex, you are actually trying to show that you are superior. So now we'll talk in first person only in this discussion because we'll not talk about others. This self-inquiry is all about us. We have to assume that we are doing introspection. We are trying to see flaws in us. When we are trying to do mind control, we are doing our mind control. So if we are doing our own mind control, so we have to look at the negative tendencies and flaws in ourselves and not look externally. If we are having some discussion about some quality, don't jump into looking that quality into somebody else. It may be happening in your family, next immediate, maybe your spouse or child or parents, but don't jump to that. Never get into any kind of analysis about anybody else about that quality which we are discussing here. Only look at your own self. If we stick to that, then we'll do a better in self-inquiry. Otherwise we'll fail because we'll again go external. This whole mind control is about internalizing ourselves, looking for flaws in our own self. If we keep looking outside, then we are actually not working on ourselves and we are actually reacting. The moment we look outside, we are reacting. So if I have a problem, suppose in my house or in my office, so I am not looking how to deal with it. Next will come how to deal with it. If suppose your boss is political, boss is bothering you, troubling you, how to deal with it? That's an art. And so the boss cannot change, but you can change. And why you are not changing? If you are not changing, it will keep troubling you. The boss will keep harassing you, you get troubled. But you can deal the situation in such a way that whether it's your boss or it is your wife or your husband or your children, they will keep doing what they do. They will not change. but it will stop bothering you. And when it stops bothering you, you are able to control your mind. When you stop reacting, you are able to control your mind. So this is what we need to see. So if we are talking about comparison, we have to see any event or thought which is in where the trigger was, we got into some comparison, and then it led to jealousy, because when you start comparing, it leads to jealousy, and after jealousy, it also then leads to hatred. Leads to hatred, and then you start creating a distance. Then there's a kind of a break in trust, and there is a break in relationship, there is a break in the love goes away, and then you can become calculative, and you can become a little aggressive toward that person, unkind toward that person. You lose compassion. So instead of getting happy with somebody's progress, we can always get into a comparison and get jealousy, because we don't accept. We have a lack of acceptance about what we have and what others, because we have to see what we have. Are we happy with that or not? And also that what we want, we can always work towards what our ambitions, but are ambitions realistic or not? Are they really aligned to my capability and potential also or not? Am I capable and potential to achieve something or not? If I want to run my car as a truck, it's not possible. So I have designed a car. I bought a car, but I can't run it like a truck. Now I have during my young age done some education. I have some capabilities. Like Gukesh won a chess championship, but I have not played chess. How can I become a champion? So if suppose I have not done certain qualification, I can't be in this job. But that job gives a lot of money. Now I can't get that much money. So should I really be aspiring? If I was my goal clear to me? Was I clear in my life that to achieve that I should do this? Or when I didn't do this? So we have to do a lot of assessment of our own capabilities and potential, and our also destiny, because maybe our situation did not we did not get guidance, we did not get that opportunity also, but then there was a destiny. We were destined to do something else. And so to understand the destiny, and to understand the destiny, you have to see the law of karma also. Both are linked up. And destiny can be understood very well by life's happenings, because so many things come to us which we never thought. There are a lot of pleasant surprises in the life. And we just ignore them, but we all react to what didn't happen as per our desire. And we also, most of us don't know what we want in life. Frankly, if you write down, if you do an exercise, what you want in life, you'll be unable to write anything. Most of the people are not sure what they want in life. So I leave this. Any questions? Anyone have questions? Like if you have questions, then let's try to address it. Do you feel it is making sense, and it will help you in doing an introspection? Because
Oh, I have a question. Uh,
Vaishali.
yeah, so my question is like how to break your mental cycle. Like you keep repeating things in your mind and bad stuff just plays over and over again. How do you break that?
Yeah, so I think you joined a little late, so we discussed that part probably in the previous class also. And what happens is this is a pattern. This repetition of something again and again is a pattern. This is the way the brain is conditioned to process that stimuli in a certain way, because our qualities are tuned in such a way. The qualities are tuned in a such a means it is we are conditioned, we are programmed, the upbringing, we are the influences which we had, the social influences or the influences of our companionship, the friend circle, what parents set an example, what teachers set an example, whatever the external exposure which we had during our upbringing, that programmed us to that embedded certain patterns, and those patterns are like program and based, because we are conditioned to process things in that way. So that pattern will keep repeating. We are like a machine. So if you really understand, we are actually nothing. So in the previous classes we discussed, I spoke about how the brain is like a central processing unit and how the sensory organs. So, like actually, in this class, in this discussion, if we miss the previous classes where we discussed, so the background is actually was discussed in the previous classes. So I'm again repeating here for your benefit that the conditioning and the patterns which have been embedded are the reason for where the repetition is happening, because we are like a machine and the brain is just processing any signal which comes from the external stimuli, sensory organs or the memory. It will automatically, naturally, and that's our nature, that's our behavior. So whatever you call behavior, nature, conditioning, we are unable to break it. How can you break it? Only when we come to a stage where we want to know why this is happening, and when we know when that the desire to know why it is happening becomes so strong, because ultimately it is impacting us only. And till the time we are not looking external and we realize we come to that, there is something we need to know why it is happening. So when that urge is very strong, and then only you can go to find out why this is happening. And when that happens, then the realization will happen that I need to transform. I need to do self-inquiry. What is spirituality? What is sadhana? And if you get those answers in the correct way, sadhana is not just doing some kind of imitation of the rishis doing tapasya and people calling it meditation. Sadhana is not just going to temples. Sadhana is not just going to some Baba. Sadhana is, these are all rituals. These will not actually take you there. Sadhana, if you really want to know sadhana, maybe you can read Yoga Vashishta and it talks about self-inquiry. So you can read probably Upanishad, but then Upanishad, who will read a 500-page book? So nobody has it. So where do you Gita? Who will read Gita? Maybe somebody can read concise Gita. It will take you in the right direction. But how many people have really read Gita? So how much effort are also we are making to find out? That's another reason. But now my point is that the day you realize that you have to transform, you have some problems, and I have to look inside. I have to internalize. I have to connect and find out why these things are happening. Then only you will come to know that there are many problems. The way I was perceiving things, the way I was reacting, I should not react like this. So this questioning starts. And when this questioning starts, then we can start looking into different human qualities which we have, which are triggered differently. So this is a very big subject to begin with initially, and the book which I have written makes it simple because I wrote a book, Meditation and Philosophy, Spirituality and Philosophy, because this is actually kind of a philosophy. And 2 years back when I wrote this book, so I gave this title because it's all theory. It's all theory about how the mind works, what is the science, how the thoughts are generated, and so these patterns have to be changed once the moment you recognize you are constantly processing the thoughts in the same way and they are bothering you, and then you have to really understand why why are you generating such thoughts, what is the reason, what are the triggers behind these thoughts. So when you come to dharma or religion or the which is actually the humanity, and humanity is nothing, the human values, the core values, the family values, the society values. What are the values, and how those values? How am I aligned to those values, or I am misaligned to those values? If I'm misaligned to those values, how are they acting on me? How are they responsible for the way I am perceiving things? How am I processing things? And based on that, I'm reacting. Should I react? Should I really react to anything external? If you really see, we should not be reacting to external. We should be totally internalized, but we are constantly reacting to the external. We should not be reacting. Our focus should be only on karma. Karma is responsibility. So are we aligned to our responsibility? Like people are spending a lot of time gossiping. Most of the time, people are gossiping. Like I've initiated some sports activity in my society. I started chess tournament, Scrabble tournament. Now I'm doing table tennis. So people have switched over from gossiping to a very positive activity. All the gossiping is stopped. All those who are coming forward to play, they stopped gossiping. Otherwise, if you leave, like they say, empty vessels, so devil mind, empty mind is a devil's workshop. So if we become empty vessels, like another example, we have outsourced all our job. Like people have thought that we'll earn a lot of money, we'll have a comfortable life, outsource everything. When you outsource everything, you have left with nothing to do. You're retired. A lot of people here are retired. When we have retired, we have nothing else to do, and we have outsourced all the job. then what will happen to your mind? How will it work? So many things have to be thought. And so gossiping, we end up gossiping only. You will discuss politics. Maybe you'll discuss religion. Maybe you'll discuss. So basically, we are all backbiting all the time. How the mind working? Is it positively involved? If you disconnect, if you don't go out for 10 days, 20 days outside the house, just focus on your task, sleep, do something. Don't engage in conversation. Most of the conversations are also very negative. If you see most of the conversation we engage, most of the time we are only criticizing. 90% of the conversation are criticism. Do we realize that?
Also, the like being in the past, it's so hard to be in the present for me.
Wonderful.
So,
Wonderful. So now this is what has to be. So the whole sadhana is about right questioning. Like you said, past. So this is another point we have to discuss later on, because meditation is what? Meditation is focus. Focus is what? Wherever we are, we should be focusing. When we are focusing means we are in the present. So are we supposed to be in the past and future? So even if you pick this up, all our thoughts and actions, if they are based on past and future, then obviously we'll have negative thoughts. So this is a very simple trick, that we have to live in the present. If you pick up that and you see all your thoughts and actions around past and future only, because suppose I am doing something, I have an expectation. Expectation is what? Future. If suppose I'm worried I will fall sick or I'll die, we are in the future. If past, we are thinking about past, this past is gone, you can't change it. Can you change it? So why should I be in the past? So this kind of introspection will bring you out of past and future also. Why you are in future? More than more than past, we are in future. Because future is something, for people who are in 70s, they'll be worried about their health. So they are thinking more about the future. Because at 30s and 40s, the health doesn't bother you. So you are looking at something else. You are probably in the past. But as you move in the age, you start looking into the future, because the main worry is health and so many things. Wealth is not that much a worry, but it can also be a worry. So you have to look what is worrying you, why it is worrying you, why don't we accept, why don't we understand destiny, why don't we understand our capability, why are we not content, are we content, what is the reason for discontent in my life? Pick that up and see why don't I surrender, why don't I be happy with what God has given us. Why don't हम लोग समर्पण क्यों नहीं करते भगवान पे? हमें भोगना भी तो है. What is suffering? So there are so many aspects to be thought of, discussed. Suffering itself is a big discussion. Suffering is a lesson. Suffering is actually a lesson. Suffering is the outcome of a karma, and then we are supposed to learn. If you fail in an exam, you have to appear again. You have to study again, and then again attempt those questions. Suffering is also like that. If I fail in my duty somewhere, then I have a suffering. Then that suffering is telling me that you attempt again. And if you fail again there will be a suffering. That is a chain reaction, it'll keep happening till the time you don't pass it. It is like a organized, though it is unorganized, but actually, if you look at it in a way, how the modern education works, same way the spiritual evolution also works. Like in college school, we used to do self-study, and today we look for coaching. Similarly, in human evolution also, we should do self-study, which is sadhana. But now today we are looking for coaching only, because we have forgotten what is self-study. But earlier people did self-study. Vaishali ji, is it? You got the answer?
yes. So basically, what I have learned is like to be in present, you focus on your breath.
Why?
Because then you're being like here now kind of thing.
So if I ask you another question, if you want to focus on the breath or focus on what you're doing?
Okay.
Suppose you are not doing anything. Suppose you're just sitting and your mind is still running. And where is your mind running? You have to see why it is running in that. Suppose I'm thinking about somebody who troubled me. So that is constantly bothering me. Or somebody who did not do what I expected. That is also bothering me. So I have an expectation. I'm also worried about somebody else's action. But now the whole point is that I should worry about my own action. Should I really be worried about somebody else's action? Even it is harming me, it is bothering me, but it is that person's action, and that person will be redeemed for their actions. I'm not responsible for their action, but I'm reacting to others' action. If so, should I really react to somebody else's action or not? This is an introspection which is needed, and this is a very core sadhana to really understand that should I be really. So, what question should be asked is, should I be reacting to that person's action? So when you start thinking like this, you stop reacting. And this has to be done repeatedly because another act of that person may again trigger you. And
Yeah.
so when that triggers, you have to now think not what he did or she did, but you have to think, should I be acting on that? Then should you have empathy or should you have a reaction? What reaction should be there? Your empathy should trigger that that person is somehow, for some reason, is unevolved and unable to behave properly, and may God give him sadbuddhi de. ठीक है, like what do we pray actually? What are we supposed to pray in a temple? कि भगवान सबको सद्बुद्धि दे, मुझे भी सद्बुद्धि दे। बस क्यों इसको प्रे करते हैं हम? क्योंकि किसी के पास सद्बुद्धि है ही नहीं। तो आप एम्पैथी से प्रे कर सकते हो भाई इसको सद्बुद्धि दे, क्योंकि ये हमारे घर में दानव पैदा हो जाते हैं। पीपल टर्न इनटू डेविल्स। राक्षस जो असुर होते थे, वो हम पहले असुर क्या थे? असुर असुर आज भी तो असुर ही हैं। ये तो तामसिक प्रवृत्तियों को हम असुर बोलते हैं। अभी कलयुग में तामसिक प्रवृत्ति है। वी डिस्कस दिस कलयुग ऑल्सो, वी डिस्कस मेनी थिंग्स इन अ प्रीवियस डिस्कशंस। व्हाई पीपल आर तामसिक, व्हाई पीपल आर लाइक दैट, एंड व्हाई आर वी रिएक्टिंग टू दैट? तो अगर असुर ही नहीं होता तो हम रिएक्ट ही नहीं करते, हम शायद सीखते ही नहीं। तो कलयुग में किसी ने बोला कि कलयुग में भगवान को पाना ज्यादा आसान है, क्योंकि आप इवॉल्व हो सकते हो, क्योंकि आपको इवॉल्व करने आपके घर में ही दो चार दानव बन के आ जाते हैं। आप उनके लिए दानव बनते हो, वो आपके लिए दानव बनते हैं, तभी तो सीखोगे। और हम उसको हम मैं तो कभी कभी बहुत खुश होता हूँ, चलो मैं सीखता ही नहीं। आई हैव अट्रीब्यूटेड माई थर्ड बुक टू माई वाइफ ओनली। She should also write a book and attribute it to me, because I think the maximum you can learn from your spouse, because maximum transactions we have with our own spouse, maximum transaction at some point of time in life we have with our children, at some point of time maximum transactions we have with our parents, at some point of time we have maximum transaction in the office with our team or with a boss. So whichever person is giving more transactions, that's where the learning will happen, because in those transactions somebody's acts and behavior is not as per dharma, and then the way we react, then our own dharma is failing us. तो हम कितना अधर्म पे हैं ये समझना जरूरी है, और रिलीजन यही और कुछ नहीं है। चाहे वो कुरान हो, चाहे वो बाइबल हो, चाहे वो बुद्धिस्ट हो या महावीर का हो, या वो सब ने यही पढ़ा है, चाहे हमारे योगानंद परमानंद जो पढ़ा रहे हैं। अगर आप ये सब समझ जाओ एसेंस, तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा, चाहे वो महर्षि रमन्ना है या स्वामी विवेकानंद है, वो सब एक ही चीज बोल रहे हैं, अलग अलग ढंग से बोल रहे हैं। एनीबडी एल्स? तो वैशाली जी, आपको कुछ जवाब मिला इसमें? लगा कुछ? डू यू थिंक?
जवाब मिला, but I just was looking for one thing that I should do every time I go in past, or if I go if I want to break the pattern of the same repetition. Uh, one thing I should go for is, what would you say about that?
Yeah, so first thing there are many things to catch on when you are going in the past. So first thing you should ask, should I really go in the past? And also, second thing I should see, should I really be reacting to somebody else's karma? So when you do this introspection, you get the answer, because if we do right questioning, we get the right answers. And to do the right questioning is to be aligned to the dharma, why I have gone to the past. I reacted to somebody's action in the past, and I'm continuing to react to somebody's action in the past. But maybe that it was to happen that way. I am not accepting it. Should I be accepting it? Should I be accepting the way the world is? And my world is what? My world is made of people. And should I be accepting them? Because humans can only do their karma. Only thing we can do is karma. What is karma? My responsibility. There's nothing else in life apart from karma. We are a machine. Actually, we are a machine. Have you ever thought that who we are? ये universe क्या है? हम क्या हैं? Who am I? We are machine. The whole srishti, the whole creation is very scientific. Everything which has been created has a purpose. Everything which has been created has a design. And what is the design? Is actually human qualities. Or for technically we say specifications, parameters. The parameters on which a machine is to work based on that. If I am not aligned to my parameters, then I am malfunctioning. So first thing when I am reacting or am I going into the past, am I aligned? Am I why I'm going back to the why I'm reacting to somebody else? Is my empathy there? Should I be empathetic or should I be reacting with hatred, anger, expectation? There's a desire and there is an expectation of people behaving in a certain way. Only thing I can do is my karma. I have some certain responsibilities in a day. Should I outsource my karma to somebody else? But we outsource and then we sit idle. So this is something very, very radical which people will not accept. So should I outsource? If you look at Vedic life, if you go to Uttarakhand villages, people are living in a Vedic life. They have cow in every house. Till 90 people are working. They're active. They don't outsource. In the cities, we outsource. And this become like a lot of people are for outsourcing in cities, but you go to villages, people don't outsource. They're very happy. I have a video on my YouTube channel. I went to Uttarakhand this year in February. I was there, and I interviewed one family, and I interviewed one young mother in that family about working and all. What time? Like morning, they don't have washing machine. They're washing clothes. Child is bathing in the open, and then they milk the cow. They have 5 cows, and that lady is active till
They are using from the Dharna.
till 2 o'clock. That lady is busy, fit, active. And I said, "Is it tiring?" He said, "No, no. This is our job. We have to do." I said, when do you rest?" He said, 3 o'clock. After 2 o'clock we are free. We rest till 4 o'clock. So should you be doing more rest? Is more rest good? Now we have just started these discussion. There will be many aspects we'll open into, like comfort. We think we should be comfortable, but what is comfort? Comfort is making us lazy, isn't it? What is the comfort? The body has worked for 2 hours, it needs 15 minutes rest. The body is worked for 4 hours, it needs half an hour rest probably. Are we working for 30 minutes and resting for 4 hours? Is this the right thing to do? So how much should I leave my mind empty? If I leave my mind empty, if I have nothing to do, what will happen? I have not become a monk. I have not become self-realized. I have not aligned myself totally to the dharma, to the human values. I am still reacting. If the day I stop reacting, I can go in my cave. I personally have spent 3 months in the forest. My house is like, for me, is like a cave. I can go, my mind remains empty. It doesn't react. I can stay alone doing nothing. But if we have not reached that stage, then my mind will keep working in something. It will try to create a devil. It tries to create a devil. You tend to go into the past and future. So these kind of thinking is needed, that why I'm in the past? Why I'm reacting to somebody's action? Because
Also,
Hmm.
sorry,
Yeah,
one more question is about time. Like, for sometimes I feel I wasted like 3 decades. So how do I go by that? Like,
So,
I feel, yeah.
so what happens is there's no waste. Suppose if I gave my engineering entrance exam, I did not clear first time. I appeared again. So I lost 1 year. It's fine. That was my destiny. It's my fault. Probably I could not prepare enough. I probably failed somewhere to rise to the occasion, to prepare. Probably I needed more time. I was more distracted. Maybe there will be many reasons to why things don't happen in our life in the timeline which we expect. and sometimes we lose time. And this is, if you really look, this life is not a race. Is this a race? So we really do right questioning? Is it a race? We wasted time, but we because we have expectations. Should we really have expectations?
That is the problem. The expectation is the problem.
Why
It's
there is
like,
why there is an expectation? If we start thinking that should we have expectation or should we focus on our karma? So when we shift our focus from karma to expectation, why do we have expectation? We have desires. Why do we have desires? What are needs? If you do only introspection on needs and desires, you will actually come to a lot of answers you will get, because if you work on needs and desires also, you will get a lot of answers, because it is the needs which lead to, and more than needs, when we have desires, they trigger expectations, and then expectation also get triggered from desires to be fulfilled by somebody else, and if they don't fulfill them, then also we get into a problem, and then we are not focusing on our own karma, but we shift our focus to others karma. So should we shift to others karma? This is to be asked. This question is to be asked repeatedly. Should I be looking into others' karma? Though they are responsible, though they are accountable, but what can you do if they don't do? Is the world perfect? These kind of questions have to be asked. Is the world perfect? Are you perfect? Are you perfect? If you're not perfect, what are your imperfections? That is a priority. The priority is not that somebody else's imperfections I try to find out. Because if I get into others' imperfections, what will happen to me ultimately? That is to be asked. And this is what is sadhana. Repeatedly ask these questions, and then you will shift your focus. Dhyan. Dhyan. This is dhyan. Where should be dhyan? In ourselves or others? If you ask this question also, there are so many questions. You can catch any and start thinking, where is my dhyan? In my karma, my duties, or somewhere else? Do I accept things the way they are? Do I understand the destiny? Do I understand karma? Have you, do we all make any effort to find what wrong karma we did? No, zero. So can you find out where did you go wrong? Maybe what you are thinking was your expectation, but probably you are a reason for that. Do we really think about that? Because
yeah.
most of the transactions, we are also कहते हैं ना एक हाथ से ताली नहीं बजती. Do we even try to figure out what was my contribution to that situation? We don't do that. This is a basic problem. I can only change that, and I can ensure I don't repeat that. The main problem is that we are not looking for our own flaws. So कहते हैं कि अंतर्मुखी हो जाओ. अंतर्मुखी क्यों हो रहे हैं? हम तो बाहरमुखी हैं. हम तो बाहर ही देख रहे हैं. We are only looking externally. We are only looking at others. We are not looking at ours. Every situation which is creating a problem. And then there are so many things to think. Who belongs to us? Do we think about this? Who belongs to us? हमारा कौन है? हमारी तो बॉडी भी नहीं है ये. Is this body belongs to you? Who are you? अगर मैं वैशाली जी आपका नाम हटा दूं, आप बताओ आप कौन हो? If suppose imagine you don't have a name, tell me who are you?
I'm my dad's daughter.
That's a social definition.
I'm energy. I'm soul.
See,
I'm a soul.
so now if you think regularly that you are a soul, you are energy, then what is this whole idea about past and future then? It's all get dissolved. So though I am just giving you examples of so many questions. If you and
Yeah.
when I said you are energy, then you are machine. And this is something very interesting discussion. We can go on to discuss energy. And if you see consciousness, what is consciousness?
Consciousness is energy.
Consciousness is awareness. The literal meaning of consciousness is awareness. And what is awareness? Awareness that we are energy. This whole creation is energy. And if this realization can happen and this can stay, if Jagrat Avastha, if consciousness is nothing, this is a wrong conception people have said and interpreted ki we are consciousness. Consciousness means we are it's about aware, are being aware that we are energy. And ये energy पे मैंने एक video, I have made a video on my channel. What is energy? And where is energy? And how it is getting transformed? And how it is flowing in this world? And how it is impregnating and permeating through every... कन कन में भगवान का क्या मतलब है? कन कन में भगवान का मतलब क्या है? कन कन में एनर्जी है. भगवान भगवान इज द सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी. बट हम देख नहीं सकते भगवान को, बट एनर्जी को फील कर सकते हैं आप. When you dissolve all the thoughts in your mind, and when you actually have that moment of recognition that you are energy, it actually takes you into a different dimension. And when you go to that dimension, you can actually feel that this world dissolves. These are the experiences one can have on the spiritual path. I have had those experiences, and they take you onto a very different path. And then all these questions, all these impurities get dissolved. Slowly they get dissolved, but it takes time.
So can you tell something about your experiences? Because I've had two experiences which have no answers about. Can I tell them, or am I taking away from discussion?
No, you can talk. I think these are all interesting discussions.
Okay. So once I had sleep paralysis,
Mhm.
where I could see myself, and I was not scared, but I could not move. That was one, and there was nobody else. Then second thing was I was walking on the hill, and I felt the whole earth is moving, like it's. And I tried to see that, am I fainting? Am I dizzy? It was none of, but I could see the whole earth in motion.
Last time somebody discussed this, so right now I will not give too much of explanation about this because it may not be very relevant right now, I feel, to explain it, but I will explain it in a different way. In fact, Mr. Kostub is not here and he also asked the same question. Even if you have some experience, then what? What happened after that experience to you? What change? Did it bring any change in you?
No, I just, the only thing that made me, I felt after that was that whatever is going on, it's just one reality.
So what was reality in this experience?
In the sense, there is more, no, this was outside of it, but there is more to the regular reality. That's what I might take was.
So probably what you realize that what the world we are living in is the externalized world is not the reality. This is what you realized.
Yeah, there are other ones.
So basically you are not living in the reality and you are living in the illusion, what we call illusion also. So why we call this world as illusion? The illusion is nothing. This world is made up of our own thoughts. Whatever is in your mind, this world will dissolve. If thoughts will go away, the world will dissolve. If suppose you are walking in the street and there is traffic, there are people, there are shops, there are houses, and if your mind is empty when you're walking on the street, then nothing will exist. It is existing, but it is not there in your mind. So this is the meaning of saying that the world is an illusion. World is there, but it is not. You are not reacting to that world. The world is not bothering you. So you can walk with your empty mind. So that's how it says the world is not there. But then when the world appears is whatever is in your mind, that's your world. Virtually, that's a virtual world.
That's true. Yeah, whatever's in your mind, the thoughts are so important. Yeah.
So when you have these experiences, sometimes you have to understand, is it making you realize that the real world is something else? Because these are the experiences which give you one message that God says, my dear, this is the real world, and this world is full of love and bliss. The world you live in is not real. So that it's like a taste. God makes you taste एंड सो दैट एक बार कहते हैं ना शेर के मुंह में खून लग गया, अगर शेर के मुंह में खून लग गया तो फिर वो तो खून के पीछे भागेगा। बट डिड इट वॉज इट लाइक दैट कि आपके मुंह में खून लगा कि नहीं? नहीं लगा तो फिर वो फिर से you may have that experience again. I had many such experiences, but some of the experiences were very, very transformative. And my first experience was in a cave where, because this world is all energy, and people create the fields. These yogis, they create through their silence, through the internalization, they create the energy, which is very powerful because the positive energy is very effective, and most of us are now struggling between positive negative energy. So the aura which we have is not very useful for us and for others also. But when we go to these places, especially in the Taposthali region of Gangotri or even Rishikesh, so there have been places and people who have created a very different vibrations there. So that basically then uplifts you, provided your energy is also there to get uplifted. And when then they make you realize that you go into certain dimensions. If you look at most of the theosophists, enlightened theosophists, Annie Besant, when she wrote a book about consciousness, she wrote certain things. Madame Blavatsky, they had what we call clairvoyance. So people, what is clairvoyance? It is just a vision and intuition. Your intuition develops, sixth sense develops. So we all have those senses, and so sometimes you get that experience where your those abilities are opened up for a short time, and you see those visions, but you don't understand. But those people who have opened it up for a longer duration, they are able to see through a lot of things. So it is once your mind is cleaned up, your purification, शुद्धिकरण, आई विल यूज मेनी वर्ड, शुद्धिकरण जब हो जाता है तो आपका माइंड का क्लैरिटी आता है और आपको सब कुछ दिखने लगता है। आप एक्सटर्नलाइज नहीं होते हो, यू आर नॉट रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू द एक्सटर्नल साउंड्स, एक्सटर्नल, you start seeing many things which we were blind to. So the whole message about these experiences is that, what is that I should be looking at? Where is my focus? ध्यान किधर है मेरा? वही ध्यान है, बस किस पे ध्यान लगाना है, किस पे ध्यान नहीं लगाना। ये अगर यही, if you start questioning, this, कि where should I be focusing? Then also, so I've given you so many tips. You can just write down few and start thinking about that constantly, that where is my focus, where should be my focus, and then you will reach a state of solitude, because solitude, अब एकांत और अकेलापन, solitude and loneliness, इस पे इंट्रोस्पेक्शन कर लो आप, you will get many answers. Are we in solitude, are we in loneliness? So if we do this
No, so I did go through Vipassana 10-day course. I went to Vipassana for 10 days, and that kind of made me really calm, and my blood pressure was normal. My blood pressure is not normal otherwise. It's pretty high. So
it will come down.
I think it's all because of my thoughts.
Yeah, because it will come down. If you start this practice at a good pace, everything will happen. Like I also have a blood pressure. I got blood pressure in 2004. And when I was in the Navy, that time only I got it. And next year I quit my job in Navy and I worked. I thought I will not be able to work, but I worked for another equal number of years, another 16 years. The thing is, if you control your mind, you can you can achieve something, you can't even dream of. And all this is, as if you really understand, the mind creates all the havoc, and it creates havoc in our internal systems, organs, and it's only mind which is doing everything. Mind is nothing actually. There's nothing called mind. So this questioning, there you will see there's nothing called mind. There is only brain. Mind is what? There's nothing called mind. You can't define mind. You can't define yourself also. So as you very well define energy. So if we do introspection on these things, you will get many answers. So did I answer you correctly about my own spiritual experience, or you want further explanation?
No. I'm good.
Like
also, I'll tell you one. I'll share. I haven't shared with many because I don't know what to think of it. But three people died in my family over the years, and I've been touched by them, and I know it's them. One of them I didn't know, but one person I knew it was him. It was her, and it's like, I wonder why that happens.
So,
Like, my head was hurting, and my nanny touched my head. I know that she touched. So
this is an experience you're talking about.
I'm talking about experience.
So what happens is, like I didn't want to touch upon this point right now, but maybe I can say what happens sometimes we have imaginations, wild imagination. I
Oh,
mean,
no, no, this was not imagination, 100%.
yeah, but what I'm saying is you will not understand. That's why I didn't want to tell now. That's why I didn't want to say this, but later on probably you'll understand. Right now, what happens is, due to extreme attachments, you must be attached. And should you be attached? So this is a question to be asked. If somebody dies in the family, should you be attached? We have so many strong influences, social influences. And like my father passed away in September, and he was about 94. And I will say I was not attached to my father. I'm not attached to anyone in this world. I didn't go to even I did not even go to cremate him. Can you imagine? And when somebody dies, my reaction is very different. I'm not sad, I'm not happy. That's how one should be. We are attached, we are possessive. Should we be possessive? Should we be attached? Is going dying? How do you see a death? How do we see death? I made one video on death also. I've made a video on art of dying. Are we ready to die? How many of us are ready to die? How many of us are afraid to die? Today morning I was driving this road. I said, is it worth driving on this road? What am I doing on this planet? So these are the questions one has to ask. What are we afraid of? What are we doing here? It's long life. I made a video on long life. Somebody said, you will live long. I said, this is not good. Is it worth to live long? What are we doing by living long? Can you tell? Anybody wants to answer this? That is living long is good or bad?
I think one should leave when they are healthy and not dependent. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And then also, one is that aspect that one should be healthy and leave healthy and not dependent. Second is, should we really live long? What are you doing by living long? Have we ever thought of these four ashrams? If suppose we all are Hindus here and we believe in Vanprastha ashram, how many have entered Vanprastha ashram? Have we left the Grahastha ashram? Are we one leg here, one leg there? We all talk about Hindu Rashtra, Hindu, Sanatan Dharam, a lot of people. I mean, I'm not saying people here are talking, but I'm general. But how many are really following our Sanatan Dharam? I can tell you, big activist about Sanatan Dharam. He himself must not be following it. None of them are following it. So we have to really think. We really want change in us. We have to see how much we are misaligned from the rich heritage. I would say rich heritage of India.
The idea of the Sanatan Dharma is not confined to India. Universal.
Universal है. Sanatan Dharma is universal.
India में क्या होता है? This राष्ट्र is confined.
Sanatan Dharma, Vinayak ji is telling is a very good point. Sanatan Dharma is borderless. Actually, it is not India, but it was practiced better recently in India, and Sanatan Dharma is even practiced abroad, but people cannot see it. हम लोग तामसिक खाना खाते हैं. They don't eat तामसिक food. I was in Poland for 3 years in 2019-20, and people, if you go out to eat in Warsaw, if you go out to eat in a restaurant after 8 o'clock, you will not get food. 6:30 people eat food. Jainies eat at 6:30. अभी तो मंदिर में भी प्रसाद में भी मिर्ची डालते हैं. तामसिक फूड. Mirchi is tamasic.
Whatever food is our street food is all tamasic. batate vade,
मिसल पाव में कितना डालता?
and they are campaigning for this.
तो फूड ही आप अपना फूड ही देख लो. बॉडी हैज 3 इनपुट्स, माइंड फूड एंड एक्सरसाइज. 3 इनपुट है. और प्राण, कौन सा प्राण वायु ले रहे हो? मैं लास्ट ईयर आई स्टेड इन अ फॉरेस्ट इन देवप्रयाग, नियर देवप्रयाग. व्हाट प्राण वायु एंड व्हाट वाटर. पानी वाज कमिंग लाइक, वहां तो जड़ी बूटियों का पानी आता है. अब हनुमान जी भी संजीवनी बूटी लेने हिमालय तो गए थे. सो वहां पर जो योगी वहां हिमालय में क्यों जाते हैं? हवा और पानी से ही पेट भर जाता है. यहाँ तो खा खा के पागल हो जाता है. कभी वो बेकरी में जाता है, कभी वो कल में काका हलवाई गया, वहां से मिठाई ले आया, वहां से ये ले आया, नमकीन ले आया. वी आर डिस्ट्रैक्टेड. We are under so much stress. Many times, in fact, we had a discussion about brain malfunction and one of the previous discussions, which is very, very interesting. How the brain malfunctions. When the brain malfunctions, you don't know what you're doing. And why the brain is malfunctioning? Because of a lot of external influences, bad air, how much chemical you are eating in food. Do you know when your stomach goes bad? Yesterday I was not unwell. I didn't know what contributed. Was it the samosa? Was it the food in the restaurant I ate? I really don't know what contributed. Why is it the milk? Is it the milk? Is it the bread? I just don't know what. So moment you eat out, your body reacts. You don't know how much of chemical you. Huh? I have decided to leave city. Should we live in the city? Why are we living in the city? What has happened with the urbanization? Look at Delhi. People can't breathe. I remember some 10 years back, the Delhi air quality index used to be 100, and it used to be in the news. Today, Pune has crossed 100, and Delhi is touching 400. People are still living, but you think, can you live there? These are invisible pollutants. Apart from mental and why is the brain malfunctioning? There is so many factors which is making the brain. When we create some device, it is supposed to operate under certain environmental condition. Are we living in the right environmental condition? You went to do Vipassana course, that was a laboratory, isn't it? Can you do Vipassana in your house? Why did you go there? Why they made a nice environment? That's a laboratory. In laboratory, you'll feel good for 10 days and come back and pay for it. You're paying to become quiet. You can't keep quiet. One of my friend asked me, I want to go for a retreat. I said, why? I said, why can't you? Well, I want to be silent for 3 days. So I said, you want to pay to be silent? So no, at home, why can't you be silent at home? He said, no, my wife will not let me stay quiet. So I want to go somewhere else. So now really, if you realize, if we are in Grahast ashram, but this is very radical statement, but we are in Grahast ashram still. Can you be in one plus? We are still, kicking each other. We are kicking each other. The wife is kicking you and you are kicking your wife, and we are harassing each other. We are actually harassing. If you really see, we are under self-harassment. And now these are all so many problems. How do you decide to go out of it? I'm looking to, right now I'm not in a position. I would have been in the Himalayas right now. I would have been staying there. Unfortunately, I am here for I don't know what reason. Maybe I don't know, God knows what, but I would any day right now, if given an opportunity, somebody gives me a place to live in Himalayas, I'll be just there. My wife doesn't let me go to Himalayas. She's taken away all the money. So I can't afford to go and live there. So this is what it is. You need some minimum amount of money to live. And then can you live? Well, I have lived there. I've seen when you go to Gangotri, Kedarnath, I met many yogis. And you need courage to go and live. You need your body should adopt. Gangotri में गोमुख के रास्ते में केदारनाथ में जो महात्मा लोग योगी रह रहे हैं, they are living under harsh conditions. One yogi, Nargiri Padamgiri Maharaj, he was from Satara. He was living there for 20 years, and he's living in a small cave, one-man cave. He meditates for 6 hours. It's divine peace, divine peace. I can't explain what is divine peace. So, if you want divine peace, Can you go and live there? There are lady saints, Lalita Devi. There are 4 lady saints also living there. In Tapovan, 4,500 meters height, Subhadra Mataji was living there. She died at 90-year-old. So people, they are really fortunate that they can leave. I am also willing to leave, but my still one foot is here in the world. I am like oscillating between Himalaya and here. Every 3 months I'll go there. So
But why do you have to go to Himalaya?
it gives you divine peace. It disconnects you from all this nonsense. Why do yogis go? So a lot of people ask, why can't you evolve here? Because I don't want to breathe this air. I want pure water. I want pure air. I want to grow my own stuff. I want to eat pure and I want to be cut off from all this clutter. This is clutter. One plus, one plus ले लो. Why not? इसके पीछे पड़ा है मैं. Who's there to what are we chasing now? I am 58. I'm very happy to get out of all this. It's all, no one belongs to us. Think about this. No one belongs to us. We are holding on to uh, many chains. We have chained ourselves. We are actually slaves of our own negative human qualities. Those negative human qualities have, वो कहता है ना, शैतान का दिमाग. हमारा दिमाग शैतान का दिमाग ही है और उसी में हम बंधे हुए हैं. बंधन है ये बोलते हैं ना भाई, ये मोह के बंधन. ये मोह मोह के, वो गाना, देयर इज अ सॉन्ग ना. So we don't learn from the song. We enjoy the song, but we don't learn from the song. How much do we really think? If you look at Rabindranath Tagore, look at Einstein, they lived a very secluded life. They were rishis. Rishis क्या करते थे? यही तो करते थे. Rishis were scientists. I also do a lot of self-inquiry about cosmic science, about energy, how energy works, because I've done engineering, so I do have some technical understanding. And with that, along with spiritual experiences and self-inquiry, you can do that kind of analysis. 2 घंटे तक मैं analysis करता हूँ बैठ के non-stop. No other thought in my mind. It's so beautiful. Or at some point of time, I started getting this thought that my getting up in the morning, eating, going to my calls is all interference in my self-inquiry. You will come to some stage where you will feel, and these yogis who went to tapasya, they actually realize everything is an interference. ये सब हमारे साधना में बाधा बन रही हैं. मेरे को अगर किसी चीज पे रिसर्च करना है तो मैं आई शुड नॉट इवन ईट. सो व्हेन दे से योगी खाते नहीं थे 3 दिन तक, क्यों नहीं खाते थे? इसलिए बिकॉज देयर desire to do that search or get that gyan was much more than this. They realized that this is an interference. Tat Wale Baba, whose cave in Rishikesh I had my first experience where my mind went blank. It's written in his this memoir that he said that initially when he went to that cave, he had to fend for the food. So he used to come down to the Swarg Ashram area to get food. So that became his interference. So then he stopped coming there and he started eating kandamul, whatever fruits were there in the forest. He became dependent. He started depending on them only. 4 o'clock morning, he'll come. Even in Rishikesh, 4 o'clock in the morning, they say that some rare yogis used to come to have a bath in the Ganges. So nobody will see them. So, but now 4 o'clock, there are many people. So probably now those yogis don't come there. They have shifted upward. So this is the problem. And yogis, why they go there is they have the strong urge to find the truth. And when time will come, so we can't be half here and half there. This is not, unfortunately, I would say, why should a situation drive us to do this? To search the truth. Why should a situation drive us to search for the truth? Why don't we search for the truth without that? Family pattern was accepted but continued.
That type of fish, you can do that.
That type of?
Want to go away from this You can go into the Himalayas.
Go to Himalaya. You can go to Pirangut, yeah. Go to Girivan. Go to somewhere here.
2%
But then person is why is that person stuck there? That is you have to think about it. It is not to say that what you're doing is good and bad. आप संसार में क्यों फंसे हुए तो आप ही को समझना है ना मेरे कहने से थोड़ी हो जाता है
somebody get married.
I'm not here to make fun of anyone. This idea is that it is for us to think what are we doing is right or wrong.
He's a trap.
Are we in a trap? Are we in a trap?
Automatically he has to take the
We have to realize because we responsibility भी अपनी है या नहीं वो भी realize करना जरूरी है ना क्या है मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हमारे जो कल्चर में था कि 50 के बाद रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी खत्म करके 1+ में चले जाओ अब मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है अगर है भी तो उसको आप कैसे फुलफिल कर सकते हो अगर मैं
different people understanding absolute evolution. जब मैं 24 years college में था when I started doing service, my understanding that time is different than what we are in present situation. तो वो शादी करना that is a part of our life ऐसा समझता है ना
but that time we never questioned it ना
हाँ
a lot of people who become sannyasi after 15 20 they realize that time कि शादी नहीं करनी so they went there and if we couldn't realize so we realize maybe
you are realizing after 60s.
So this yatra this journey is of soul. So today this don't look yourself when you see your energy then obviously this death and birth goes away. This life in this form goes away and then you don't see this life as the life. You are in a journey of your soul. The soul will be liberated.
This type of maturity in the thoughts becomes depend upon the time.
Yes.
Period. As you go grow, you will get the experience and your mind will change, your thought will change.
And
now whatever the same thing, but whatever earlier, not the same thing.
How much are we fortunate enough to find a company of people for such kind of discussion or we are engaged in some discussion this is also very important how much time do we how much do we go to any place like if you go to Gurudwara very nice Sunday Sankirtan happens you can if you go to church Sunday morning there is a nice choir you go somewhere some nice you go to Ramkrishna Mission they have evening bhajan.
ISKCON.
If you go to ISKCON, like I go to ISKCON on Thursday, somebody conducts Naam Jap, Mala Jap. That's also very nice. You can find some time in your day where you can engage in this. Abhi, like if I worry about my daughter, I have responsibility for my daughter. No, my responsibility was to teach her and make her capable. My responsibility was not to tag along with her. If she's not become enabled, that's my problem. But if I should not be there in her life, I should be there if some crisis.
Awareness also changes.
Awareness changes.
Different level.
You
whatever I once upon a time when I was in university, I was involved in these activities. Maybe every Sunday I was meeting there. But now that's what I have changed. Because I was not aware of the reality. I am preparing this type of there is a change in the
so what Mr. Vinayak is telling initially used to go to ISKCON. So what will happen like if you go to Swami Vivekananda Ashram in Mayavati in Pithoragarh district, Lohagarh district, Champawat district. Okay, so in Mayavati Ashram of Swami Vivekananda is Advait Ashram. And Advait is non-duality. Go beyond rituals, go beyond worshipping.
Yes.
No worshipping needed. Then you come into oneness. Then you see that बोलते हैं ना हम भी तो भगवान हैं हम भी तो भगवान के अंश हैं तो फिर किसी ने बोला भगवान जब हम भी भगवान हैं तो भगवान की क्यों पूजा कर रहे हैं so he says go to non-duality so Swami Vivekananda ashram the core teaching there is that I want everybody to rise above all this because that's a path that's a journey somebody starts with bhajan somebody chants kirtan somebody is only visiting temples somebody is only reading some book and not evolving from that book. But ultimately, you have to evolve. And when you evolve, slowly, you'll stop leaving all this behind. The day your mind is emptied, then you don't need anything. And then you will understand higher realities of life, like our founders, Annie Besant, Blavatsky ma'am, or Henry Olcott, Jitne bhi the Krishnamurti, and if you look at Krishnamurti's teaching is so different. so practical. So you can pick up who's your right teacher. And there, Swami Ram, there Yoganand Paramanand's teaching, Maharshi Ramana's teaching, Nisargadatta Guru Maharaj's teaching, Neem Karoli Baba's teaching, Yoganand, Swami Vivekanand, there, Mam Anandmai. You can see so much of content is there even on YouTube. उनका थोड़ा सा सुन लो, आइडिया डायरेक्शन मिल जाएगा, खत्म, उसके बाद चलते रहो. एंड एक सत्संग अच्छा है. When we do satsang, when we do this is satsang. Like I'm very happy that Vaishali ji asked so many questions, and that's really wonderful. Very good question actually. You know, it made the discussion very very. And whatever inputs Vinayak ji gave, this is what we need to have this discussion. You know, like so that I speak less, but yeah, I can share, clarify with my experiences, and help. Anybody else?
Thank you.
So it's 11:30. If no more question, then we can close.
Yeah.
Okay. And thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks.